My fj-09 is due for a new tire. The front tire looks like it did when I rolled it out of the showroom. I mean, it just really didn't take any wear at all, but the rear, like most motorcycles, the center is starting to flatten out.
You one ugly motherfucker.
And the original OEM tires, they're Dunlop D222s, which aren't even available. They're a single compound tire, so it's the same compound. I'm replacing only the rear tire. And the reason I'm doing that is mainly because of cost and because it really doesn't make any sense to throw away a perfectly good front tire, which is exactly what I did on my first bike. I changed the tires, and now I have a perfectly good front tire that's, incidentally, it's the same size as my fj-09, so nice to have a spare. What I elected was something as close to OEM as I could get. It's the Roadsmart 2. And, you know, the tread pattern is exactly the same. And, yeah, new tires smell so great. I don't know, maybe I'm weird in that way, but I really like the smell of new tires. But, so, I've never changed a motorcycle tire myself. On my previous bike, I dismounted the tires. I took the wheels off, and then I called around. I checked with the dealer that I bought my bike, and they really weren't very interested in changing tires that they don't sell. And when they did tell me, they told me it would be $35 a tire, and it would take like 2 days. What? So I called the KTM dealer near my house, and they said they would do it for $25. So okay, I took the tires off, jacked up the bike first, took the tires off and took the wheels off and took them to the KTM dealer and dropped them off. And they said, yeah, just come back around 5 o'clock because they close at 6. So I leave the bike on jacks for pretty much the whole day and went back about 5 o'clock and walked in, and there my wheels were and there my tires were right where I left them. They hadn't even been changed. So of course they apologized and all that, and they took them in the back, and then they did them, and while I waited, took, I don't know, like 30 minutes or so. And I was kind of apprehensive, thinking that maybe since they got in a hurry, they didn't do a great job, but they did. I mean, the balance was all good and everything. But the thing is, you know, I'm not really inclined to want to go back there again. They just kind of forgot about me. I know they get busy, and I'm not their only customer, so you know, I don't hold any grudges or nothing like that. But so later on, I started hearing about another tire shop, and it's in Peoria, which is like about a 30-minute ride from here. And I've heard that their prices are reasonable, and that even if they change them, they're pretty careful with your bike. They're, you know, good mechanics and such. But this time, you know, I kind of wanted to do it on my own, because a lot of the stuff I've done on my bike, I've kind of got some satisfaction from doing it myself. And also, I don't have to depend on anybody. I don't like to have to depend on anybody. I'd rather just do it on my own. And the tire that I found here, I found them a lot of places. They're about $160 a tire. I found this one on Amazon for $104 delivered to my door. So how can you go wrong with that? Now, I've done some research online as far as how to change a tire, and that's not what this video is going to be about. There's a lot of great videos on how to change your tires and how to remove your tires. And if you can't remove your own tires from your bike, then chances are you're probably not watching this video anyways. So this isn't necessarily a how-to video, it's a why Why would you do the tires yourself? Given the previous frustrations I've had, I think I'll just change it myself, and I'll video little parts of it. Through my research, I discovered that I needed a few extra tools. I needed some tire irons and a way to break the bead, and I'm going to talk about that right now. So here's kind of a layout of the tools that you're going to need. I don't know if you need to have a balancer or not, but I found this one on Amazon, and it was only like about 40 bucks. I'll put the link in the description. And now I've seen people use their axle rod and just set it on jack stands, and that's what this is. I'm going to set this. This has rollers on it, and so I'm just going to set it on a jack stand and balance the tire. I do have weights also. Now also tire irons. These were pretty cheap. I'm sure they're made in China, but I mean they seem to be a pretty good decent steel, kind of like a big heavy duty screwdriver. And the set came with 2 of these rim protectors, and so for an extra $6 I bought 2 more rim protectors, just be extra safe. But this set here was like about 25 bucks. The other thing is this is how I plan to break the bead. I found these at Harbor Freight, and they're like $7 or $8 a piece. I first bought this one and found that it wasn't quite big enough to fit across the tire, so I got the 8-inch, and they were actually fairly cheap. I mean, they seem to be made out of iron or steel, cast. I'm not sure, but I seen a couple of videos where people broke their tires, broke the beads with this. I've also seen them break beads with just the spoons. So I've never done it before, so this is going to be a first time for me. And also, I never really do work without some sort of mechanic's gloves. And so I'll try and video pieces of it, but I'm just not going to do the whole thing, because that's not what this video is about. Need some special tools and a torque wrench. I have all that. And first thing that I'll disconnect will be the ABS, so that doesn't get damaged. And then the brake caliper. I'm not sure if I really need to take out the brake caliper, but the book says to remove it, so I'll go ahead and do that. And every bike's a little bit different, but you just whatever bike you have, just familiarize yourself with the procedures. And as you can see, here's my flattening tire. Now I can run this all the way flat. I see a lot of people that run almost a cord, but I still have some room. I have, like, I don't know, maybe about 30 seconds to go before I get to the wear bar. But the tire right now, it's still serviceable, and so my my logic on that is I'm going to go ahead and change it now, and then I'll just store this as a spare, so I could run it temporarily if I had to. But the reason I'm changing it now is because I do have a couple of longer road trips in the near horizon, so I'd rather go out with a new set of rubber than wait or go on a long trip with a tire that's almost ready to have to be changed. Okay, I've got the ABS sensor removed, brake caliper also. Got that hanging with a bungee, and there's the brake mount, and of course the axle. And you always want to put all the hardware in order that you took it off, just to keep it. Lay the tire down on a piece of rubber mat, and the disc doesn't touch, so now it's just a matter of removing the chain drive. I mean the chain wheel and the cush drive. This should just wiggle out there, just like that, and all these pieces of rubber will come out. It's always a good time to clean your chain too if the chain's not clean, but mine is. Also a great time to do a nice cleaning on your wheel too. So the one thing you want to always be sure of is not to let your disc touch anything, and I have a good 3/4 of an inch of clearance right here. So next we'll deflate the tire and try and break it down. I have changed car tires before, but remove this little guy. But with car tires, I've always had access to a tire tool, a tire mounting system. Well, so far it's not as easy as I thought it would be, or as easy as it appeared on videos. Alright, I finally did break the bead. And it wasn't because of my great mechanical ability or nothing like that. It's just keep working on it, keep pressing, and eventually that's it. Okay, had to change cameras. My cell phone just isn't really a great camera. It's a pretty good phone, but one of these days I need to get an actual camera. As you can see, I did get it on. It's probably a good thing that I didn't have video coverage, because it really wasn't pretty. I just kind of struggled with it and went one piece at a time, and there it is. It's mounted. And I was careful to have the direction, because it's got a directional arrow here, and the camera's not going to catch it because it's not enough light, but it's going to go on that way. And on the other side here, you can see there's always a yellow mark, and you want to line that up with your valve core, so I'm going to have to kind of adjust that just a little bit. Let's see if I can get this view here. I just put this those rollers on the jack stands. And so what you do, you just give it a slight, and it's already found the bottom. So unless you want to wait for a long time, you just kind of park it and see how it's going to roll down. Now this tire, my rear wheel did not have any weights on it from the factory, so it must have been perfectly balanced without any weights. And when I got the rest of the balance done, it came out to a ½ ounce of weights, and I don't know if the camera is going to really pick that up, but got everything all leveled out and move it around, and whatever position it stops at, it stays. So it took me a little while to figure out exactly where to put the weight. It seemed like I needed more weight at one point, but whichever position the wheel stops, and I let go of it, it doesn't proceed. So it does not have a heavy side or a light side now. It appears to be pretty good static balance. And at one point I thought maybe the fan was having an effect on it, so I moved the fan away so the fan's not blowing directly on it. But yeah, that's it. It's all inflated, balanced. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit and get everything put back together. And also, when you take your wheel off, it's always a good time just to go ahead and check your chain tension. And I adjusted that a little bit and aligned the chain, and now the final 108 foot-pounds of torque. Foot-pounds is pretty tight. That's it. Well, I finally finished it up, and it's all aligned and everything seems to be in order. And it's nice new fresh tire. I'd like to be able to say that it was easy, but it kind of wasn't. It was kind of a pain in the ass. Here's a little bit of the flatness of and it's not real bad. I mean, we're about a 1.5 to 2 30-seconds within the wear bar, but you know, when the tire gets flat like that on the end, you can definitely feel it. So like I said, on my last bike I put Michelin Pilot Road 4s, and they were the double compound too. It was a harder rubber in the center, and the whole time that I had it on those tires, it never wore flat. It stayed like this. But these single compound rear tires that come from the factory, you know, this is just what they do. So this is the same tread pattern, but I don't know if the camera can really pick it up or not. The rubber, the tone of the rubber in the center looks just a little bit different. Ride safe out there, guys.